Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, JP the Outlaw, here to give you my review for TLC preview and predictions. So, I've been starting, stopping, restarting. I'm back at it, gang. I'm back at it. Had to get my mind right. Went through some personal stuff, job work. We talked about it the last episode. Still going through it, but it's able to see clearly now. You have to separate, and I tell everybody, you have to separate the people that really matter and the people that don't really matter. And sometimes us as people, we get caught up in things that don't really matter. For an example, you're the best. You're the best worker at your fucking job. You do non-stop work. You try to get shit done. You try to be ahead of the game. Let me tell you something. That doesn't matter. Let me tell you why it doesn't matter. Because you yourself, you as a person, do not see any of that money that you're doing for another man's company. So just keep that in mind on when you're out there and you're doing your job. You can work your ass off, but keep in mind that it's not your business. It's not your job. You're not supposed to be doing any of that. You get paid from 9 to 5. You don't even have to talk to people if you don't want to. You dig me? I mean, of course, listen to your superiors. But if you're like me, you have no superiors. Period. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That was a complete. Let's throw that part out. Let's start with this review. The WWE. God knows the WWE is fucking up. But they're trying to put on a somewhat decent pay-per-view, which I think is going to go under-recognized. I'm not going to say utilized, because Lord knows they got their gimmick matches in here. But I think it's going to go right under the radar, okay? Just like Survivor Series. I think Survivor Series was okay. I don't want to call it a great show. I don't want to call it a good show. But I think for the matches you got was okay. Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. You got freaking Charlotte snapping off on Ronda Rousey. What else did they give you on that pay-per-view? Which just those two matches right there was solid. It's a third match, but I can't really think of it right now. We'll go back over it on our wrestling, the State of Wrestling review, which will come out sometime this week. Okay? So, they started off with Mixed Match Challenge, R-Truth and Carmella versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. Okay? Now, there's been so many changes and mixes and people getting taken out of the tournament, put back into the tournament. Finn Balor, AJ Styles in particular, these guys was in the tournament with their partners. Bayley, I think, was Finn Balor's, and Charlotte was AJ's. Both teams got pulled out of this tournament due to the massive injuries on the main roster, which we'll go over as we talk more in depth with this pay-per-view. Okay? I just would like to see, because the number 30 spot for the Royal Rumble does not really add up to anything. For a prime example, Dolph Ziggler the year prior came in at the number 30, and he was smoking hot. He had all this intrigue around him, but the WWE decided to bring him back early and pretty much fuck whatever intrigue that he had. He had just won the USA Championship. He relinquished the title so he could go and fight for the WWE title, which I thought was one of the more interesting stories for Dolph Ziggler. Why aren't you pushing Dolph Ziggler? Just saying. Then the shit that they pulled was best in the world, that was some bullshit. But I want to go Carmella R-Truth here. But you got to remember, Jinder Mahal became WWE champion based off of a 5-man challenge. I just think Jinder Mahal going up against people in a one-on-one scenario is not good. But Jinder Mahal, via the tag team, via interference, via multi-man matches, Jinder Mahal is the guy you want to pick. So I'm going to go Jinder Mahal, Alicia Fox, because they're not doing anything with either of these two. Carmella and R-Truth is more of, that 5-second dance. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a 5-second dance break. Somebody's going to get hit with the collage, R-Truth. And 1, 2, 3, R-Truth. R-Truth and Carmella loses. Moving on, the Cruiserweight Championship. Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander has put it on classics. I believe it was at Super Showdown where Cedric Alexander took the Cruiserweight Championship off of Buddy Murphy took the Cruiserweight Championship off of Cedric Alexander. So with that being said, Buddy Murphy's doing the best work of his career. I mean, let's forget about Alexa Bliss and all that other good jazz. Buddy Murphy is doing the best work of his career in the WWE right now at the current time. Quote unquote, the juggernaut of the cruiserweights going up against the heart of the cruiserweights. This should be a very entertaining match. I would like to see somebody else in Cedric's spot. Let's get a highlight around these other guys that you got on 205 Live. You know, let's say Mustafa Ali, the Lucha House Party, freaking, who else you got? Hideo fucking Itami is just wasting away down there in the cruiserweights. Let's start getting a highlight on these guys. But the way I see it is the WWE is slowly pulling out of 205 Live because you're starting to see cruiserweights pop up everywhere. So I guess they're going to mix them into the real talent. And you can have the Cruiserweight Championship bounce back and forth between both brands. That's what I would have done. Or have a set of Cruiserweight guys on SmackDown and a set of Cruiserweight guys on Raw, which would have been, you know, easier because it's only like 15 or 11. It would have been easier to maneuver that way. You know, 1 month it could be on Raw, and you can have the guys of Raw, you know, fighting for the Cruiserweight Championship. The following month, it could be SmackDown's turn. Or you can do something like, you know, the Cruiserweight Champions traveling from both shows, which I've already discussed. But I'm going Buddy Murphy here because it's no need to put the title back on Cedric Alexander. I think he had it for a year. Speaking of Cedric, he was one of those. He really brought the cruiserweights out of the dark ages when, you know, the whole Enzo thing and the Neville. So I would like to see Cedric Alexander be moved around a little bit. You know, switch it up with him. Let's move him to an NXT. Let's get him around guys that he's familiar with a Cassius Ohno, Adam Cole, you know, etc., etc. You know, I think he would do good in that atmosphere down there. Even though I think NXT has enough talent, but I think Cedric Alexander is just misplaced inside of all of the 205 Live stuff. I really do. Cedric Alexander, you slap the Intercontinental or the U.S. Championship on him, I think he could take that title to the next level as far as in-ring competition. You might need to give him a mouthpiece because his mic skills ain't that good, guys. So, moving on, we have a chair match with Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. Now, I've been a big fan of Rey Mysterio damn near my whole life. I'm happy that Rey came back to the WWE. There's a rumor out there that he only did it for his son, which, you know, you rarely find people investing time into things for other people. So, you know, I tip my hat to the man. You know, you want your son to have all the opportunities that he can have. So, you know, why not be there working alongside him in the Performance Center? And when you're not doing that, you're doing matches for SmackDown Live. I think that is, you know, Father of the Year type time. You dig me? He's doing a hell of a thing. But let's talk about this match, Randy Orton. Randy Orton has made it a point to take out all your heroes. So don't be surprised if you get because you went from Jeff Hardy to Rey Mysterio. Don't be surprised if Randy Orton's next victim is AJ Styles, because I had to take a sip of my coffee. Because AJ Styles literally has nothing to do. I think after this feud with Daniel Bryan, you move him over to a mini feud with Randy Orton, and then you take his ass to Monday Night Raw. It's time for a shakeup. It's time to mix this shit up. It's time to get more notable names on Raw versus having all your notable names on SmackDown. I mean, you can't use John Cena right now. You can't use Roman Reigns right now, which we'll talk about on State of Wrestling Part 4. You can't use Braun Strowman. Okay, you can't even use Braun right now because he has an injury. So you got to be mindful of all the heroes that Randy Orton is going to attack. But I think Randy and Ray will put on a great match, because why have they, if any time in the course of their history together, if you look back at their WrestleMania moment where they had a triple threat match with Kurt Angle, again, these guys work well together. So I had this penciled down as a sleeper match. Actually, being entertaining. I don't really like the use of chairs. They don't use chairs appropriately. I'm used to ECW style chair shots, and it's a way to hit somebody with a chair and hit them hard as fuck, but not look like you just killed them. So or give them a concussion or concuss them. So I'm going Randy here, because I don't really see the need of letting Rey Mysterio get a win at this particular time. I would do this match again, or maybe have them meet up in the Rumble and Randy Orton or Rey Mysterio eliminates Randy Orton, and then that keeps that feud going. Or Randy Orton disgrace demolish Rey Mysterio here, and he would be a key favorite for the Royal Rumble. I think that's the way I would go. If it was me, I would have Randy Orton beat the shit out of Rey Mysterio. Rip the mask off. Do everything. Rey Mysterio doesn't come back into the Royal Rumble. Rey Mysterio's off TV. That'll give somebody else enough time to come up and try to take his place. And Andrade Cien could come up and say, hey man, I don't appreciate what you did to Rey Mysterio. And that could be television for the next 4 weeks on SmackDown Live. Moving on, gang. Ruby Riott versus Natalya in the tables match. I find this match completely pointless and fucking ridiculous. And let me tell you why. One, Natalya, who's just lost her father, who's just went through all this dramatic post-stress syndrome of whatever you want to call it. The WWE has a way of fucking with people. And what I mean fucking with people, why the hell would you blow up a life-size picture of Jim the Anvil Reinhardt so Ruby Riott could run it out on stage and say that she's going to put her through this table, say that she does not care about Natalya's loss and she's going to lose again at TLC. I think this is cheap heat. Don't get me wrong, it's effective inside the right hands. I love Ruby Riott. But again, just like any big business, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what they want you to do. But I think Ruby Riott is well versed on the mic to where though you don't need this bullshit angle. You dig me? Why is Natalya and Ruby Riott even fighting? It's not for a number one contendership. It's not for anything other than the honor of Natalya's father, which again is cheap heat. You could have had anybody go out there and use that same fucking promo, and you would have got the same fucking reaction. I'm going Ruby Riott here, only because the WWE is that sinister to where as though I'll have you go through all this shit. You think the good guys are supposed to give the bad guys comeuppance? Wrong. The bad guys win, and then maybe on an episode of Monday Night Raw, Natalya and two other chicks versus the fucking Riot Squad, and Natalya gets a win back. Just to play on to that 50-50 booking that the WWE does. And moving past this, Elias versus Bobby Lashley. Now, Bobby has done nothing for me. They're calling him Bobby Almighty and all this other good shit. Bobby Lashley has done nothing for me since returning to the WWE. And it's sad to say, because I feel as though Bobby Lashley could be the first, let me repeat, the first black WWE champion. Since my man fucking Farouk. Farouk was the first the black world heavyweight champion. And, you can say The Rock is a, contender for that title, but he's not. He's not of African American descent. So, he's Samoan. So he's not a full-blooded, black guy. I'm black, so I can say black guy. I think they could do a lot more with Bobby. I just find it ridiculous, the feuds, and, he's the reason why you haven't seen Sami Zayn. He's also another reason why you haven't seen Kevin Owens. They've used Bobby Lashley as, we don't want him on TV, fuck him up and get him out of here. That's how I see it. Because Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens was doing the best work. You was handing them fucking lemons, and they was making lemonade. The best work in their career. Elias, they've done nothing with Elias. Elias should have won the Intercontinental Championship way back when he went up against Seth Rollins, when Seth Rollins was riding that big wave of momentum before he got to Dolph Ziggler. Because I would have dealt with an Elias walking around doing live performances, being a chicken shit heel, not actually defending the Intercontinental Championship, except on pay-per-views. I could have dealt with that. But again, both men here have been barely used. If I had to invest in anybody, it would probably be Elias. Because I feel as though Bobby Roode, you need a whole revamp. Bobby Lashley needs a whole revamp right now. He needs to come up off of Raw, go to SmackDown, go somewhere else, get some brand new eyes on him, take some time off so he can refresh his character, and come back out and be dominant. You dig me? You have a fucking shirt that says "Back to Dominate." You have done no domination. Past that, Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Finn, you know how I feel about Finn Balor. Finn Balor, when he came back from his injury after, a year off after getting that buckle bomb from Seth Rollins onto the barricade, Finn Balor should have been tossed right back into the WWE Championship picture or the WWE Universal Championship picture. He should have been tossed right back into that scene because currently you have nobody. You've invested in the Roman Reigns and the Braun Strowmans, and now they're out injured. Therefore, your lovable babyface, which would be Finn Balor, your vanilla midget, as you would say, had already been built up. He was already built up. This is before the LBG community stepped in, and they got the Finn Balor t-shirts with the rainbows and all the multicolored outfits that Finn Balor wore. This is before that, when Finn Balor was the man in black, when Finn Balor was Jack the Ripper. This is how he should be promoted now, because you have nobody else to promote. You still have Seth Rollins, but you damn near killed him by throwing him into the fucking feud with the Shield and the Dogs of Whatever with Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. It boggles the mind the shit you do to premier talent. Finn Balor has already proven himself cross seas and, major ticket seller for NXT and the WWE. But you shit all over Finn Balor, and then you wonder why he doesn't draw anymore. You wonder why he isn't over anymore. Because you gave him literally nothing to do. And then after giving him nothing to do and the bullshit you did give him to do, which was bullshit, now the crowd has soured on a Finn Balor. Which I think Finn Balor is one of the fucking best performers they got there. It's no way you can't tell me the coup de grace doesn't get a pop. No way. I'm stomping on a guy's chest with both my feet and all of my body weight. Now, flip side of this coin, Drew McIntyre has been doing the best work of his fucking career. It's now, if there was ever a time to flip a role as far as, Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre, now's the time. Because you wasted time with Braun and you didn't put the title on Braun when he was going up against fucking Brock Lesnar. Way back at No Mercy. And that was last year. So now what I would do, because you got Drew McIntyre cutting some of the best promos he's ever cut. You got Drew McIntyre looking the fucking part as a champion, as just a fucking beast. The fucking, what is it, the Scottish Psycho Killer is what they're calling him. Give this man the fucking title. He can be a heel. He can be a tweener. Going up against a Brock Lesnar. Going up against a fucking, who else you got over there? Seth Rollins. It's ways to work around this fucked up booking WWE has done to themselves. This is why Monday Night Raw has the lowest ratings of all fucking time. Consistently low ratings. It ain't as bad as TNA, but once you get to consistent levels of just fucking sucking, This is what you get. This is what you get. WWE, you brought this on yourself. I'm going Drew McIntyre because I'm getting off track here. I'm going Drew McIntyre. I would like for Drew to pick up a big win here. And, there's rumors saying that Finn Balor may not even make it, so this match might be changed to Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. And in any event, I'm still going Drew McIntyre. Because it's time to start building him up, promoting him to be the next suitable challenger after WrestleMania. Because Lord knows who's going to be around after WrestleMania. Okay? You have the tag team titles, SmackDown tag team titles. You have the Bar versus the Usos versus the New Day. I like all these teams here. I thought the rap battle was funny as hell. I didn't understand why they put the Big Show with the Bar just to break them up a week later. That made no sense to me. But as always, I don't know what the Usos have done. I don't know who the fuck they pissed off to not be included in more plans for SmackDown Live. But, you put these three teams together, it's going to be a great match. I got this being another sleeper match, whereas though you're really going to surprise people with what they do and how they move inside of the ring. And it's a triple threat tag team match. You rarely get that in the WWE. I think the last time you got it was at WrestleMania. And Enzo, and that's when they brought back the Hardys. When Enzo and all these guys was in a ladder match fighting for the Raw Tag Team Championships. So, I'm going to go the Bar. I want to say the Usos is my second choice. I don't see the point of putting it on the Usos or the New Day. The Bar can pretty much hold down the Tag Team Championships. They just won them not too long ago. So, let's go that way. That's how I would do it. Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. Who cares? Baron Corbin is currently fighting for his GM position on Raw, being the GM if he wins this match against Braun Strowman. Now, Braun Strowman is hurt. He's had surgery on his elbow. Okay, so with that surgery, there's still major discoloration. We don't even know if he's going to make it into TLC tonight. And if he does, how much momentum will he have? How much mobility will he have? We don't know. I can tell you how to book around this. I would have freaking Baron Corbin come out, cut like a 5-minute promo. Okay? After he comes out, cut his 5-minute promo, you had a ref come down. Heath Slater. Heath Slater starts the match. You have Braun. Music plays, but Braun didn't come out. Okay, you have Heath Slater start the slow count. As it gets to 9, you hear Braun, or even 8, you hear Braun Strowman music hits again. Braun comes out, hits him with the goddamn forearm or running suplex. After the running suplex, Braun picks up the win. We no longer have to deal with Baron Corbin. And after Monday with the WWE, there's nothing you can say to me about Baron Corbin. He is the perfect shield that they use to pretty much mask their horrible booking. Because he took the heat, and I give him that. You went out on stage, you said it was my fault, but you also said you didn't give a fuck. You also said fuck the fans. So that is a Vince McMahon move all the way around, if I've ever seen one. Then 2, you have fucking not only Braun doing whatever the hell, you killed Braun. Like I said, you killed Braun in fucking no mercy. So, you build a big, lovable, babyface monster, and you keep him as such. That's what he is. He fits a fucking category now, because that's the category you put him in. There's nothing left for him to destroy. There's nothing left for him to break and run through. So, you put him to the back burner, you push up Seth Rollins. Moving on. Moving on, okay? Baron Corbin should win here. Not Baron Corbin, I'm sorry. Braun Strowman should win here. Baron Corbin should lose his rights to be GM of Monday Night Raw. I don't see the difference. I think GMs for Raw and SmackDown are pointless. You don't need a GM for every fucking segment on every fucking show. So, that's my argument with that. The Intercontinental Championship match. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, I don't know what the fuck you did with Dean Ambrose. It's like y'all sat down, watched Batman, The Rise of the Dark Knight. You said, oh man, I love fucking Tom Hardy. I love his character inside of this movie. And so, what we're going to do, I'll tell you what the fuck we're going to do. We're going to make Dean Ambrose the brand new Bane. They went gas mask, bought the fucking jacket for him and everything. Clearly, he couldn't talk with the gas mask on. He ripped that off. And this is just the shit that they've done to Dean Ambrose. Mind you, when Dean Ambrose came back, he wasn't saying nothing. He was very interesting. You wanted to know what the fuck is going on with Dean Ambrose. He's a new bad guy. You're trying to rebuild Dean and make him more of a monster. Being there, more of a monster. So I guess when he first came on the scene, he was interesting because he wasn't saying anything. He wasn't saying anything at all. He walked up, I'm with the Shield. I help my brothers. This, that, and the third. Boom. Roman Reigns announced that he's having he has cancer. Shout out to Roman Reigns. Joe Hawaii, if I'm saying that right. Shout out. I haven't been around since then, so shout out to him. Cancer is a heavy thing to fight. The Big C. I have family members. My great grandfather, he died of cancer, so I can only imagine what he's going through right now, in remission and trying to fight this disease. Fuck cancer. Fuck cancer. Moving on. So then you have Dean Ambrose betray Seth Rollins on the night of the announcement. You had Seth Rollins reaching for Dean like, it's cool, we can work this out. What's wrong? Talk to me. And Dean is like all fired the fuck up. He's passionate. He's beating the shit out of him. And obviously not saying anything. That's an interesting character in itself. Just to get what we got. If you would have told me that's how they was going to book it, from that point on, if you would have told me they would have went into a Bane character, I wouldn't have believed you. But that's what the fuck happened to Dean Ambrose. Okay? Now, other side of this coin, Seth Rollins, with his passionate promo from last week, I give the devil his due. You tried. And, you tried to make this interesting. You went on somebody's Twitter. WWE did. You went on somebody's Twitter. You took all their bitching and all their comments, and you put it into a segment form with Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin being the WWE, Seth Rollins representing the fans. Seth Rollins trying to build this babyface heat. He's also name-dropping Brock Lesnar. It's time to take the title off of Seth Rollins. Give the title to Dean Ambrose. Have him feud with somebody else. Hell, even a Finn Balor. Because you've done nothing with him since he came back. Finn Balor should have been Intercontinental Champion. At least. Fuck, you could even grab Hideo Itami from over there on 205 Live and made him a tag team champion. My opinion, that's all I'm saying. Time to get the title off of Seth Rollins. Dean Ambrose wins the title. Maybe you have him feud with Dolph Ziggler after this. I don't know what you do. But it's time to get the title off of Seth. It's time for Seth to win the Royal Rumble and go on to fight Brock Lesnar. And if you're not going to do Seth, the next best bet is my man, Drew McIntyre. Raw's Women's Championship, Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey wins, of course, because who gives a fuck about Nia Jax at this current point? And I love me some Nia Jax. I am a chubby chaser. Okay? I think everything she does in the ring is fucking god awful. I think she's okay in the face. Sometimes she looks like a man when she smiles. But other than that, she's pretty as fuck. So, with that being said, I'm going Ronda Rousey because you're not going to take the title off of Ronda 4 months before WrestleMania. That makes no fucking sense. So, moving past that, the match that everybody wants to see, the match that everybody's talking about, the women's SmackDown Women's Championship match, Becky Lynch, Charlotte versus Asuka. Of course, everybody know the details here. Everybody knows what's going on with Becky Lynch and Charlotte. The sleeper here is Asuka. Yes, she was made to look tall at fucking the Go Home show when she went up against Charlotte in the main event and took out Charlotte and Becky Lynch. Okay, now normally when something like that happens, gang, and this is just the way booking is done in the WWE. Normally when something happens like that, whoever stands tall at the Go Home show has no fucking chance of winning the title. Okay? Now, me personally, I don't see anybody taking the title off of Becky Lynch right now at this current moment. Unless you have Becky Lynch wins the Women's Royal Rumble and you move her over to SmackDown to fight Ronda Rousey in the main event of WrestleMania. Now, if you're not going to do that, you keep the fucking title on Becky Lynch. When it comes time for Becky Lynch to move over to Monday Night Raw, because at this point, they need her. When it's time for Becky Lynch to move over to Monday Night Raw, you take the title off her in the scrimmage match on SmackDown Live. Not only does that increase ratings, that brings more eyes to the next person. It's like passing the guard. And the next person is Asuka. I don't see them giving the title to Charlotte, because that makes no sense. I don't see them giving the title to or giving the title to a Naomi or anybody else in that back locker room of SmackDown. So, again, if you're going to book this right, if you're going to go the way you have two ways that you can go in from this move and moving forward. You can move some shit around to make your WrestleMania really mean something. And I think the perfect time to do it is at the Royal Rumble. And we'll talk about this more on State of Wrestling 4. I don't want to get caught up in this because I have a lot to say about that. But obviously I'm going Becky Lynch here. Asuka is my sleeper. If she does so happens to win, I don't think that they're going to take and give this title to Charlotte. I think what's really going to happen with the WWE, I think it's going to be Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey 2 at WrestleMania. So we'll see how that pans out. I think it'd pay off better if you do a Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey 3 at WrestleMania. That way Ronda Rousey can get her win back in the mix of Charlotte going over beating Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship. That's how I would do it. So somewhere in between there, these two would have a second match, and then the third match would be at WrestleMania. You know, get Charlotte off of SmackDown. Let her move over to Monday Night Raw. And it's not like you don't need the females over there. You know, the female star power. You have enough in Ronda Rousey. So, if you're going to do this, you have to make it interesting. You have to make it, how is Charlotte going to get from point A to point B? And that's the most curious part of it. So, we'll see how that pans out. The WWE Championship. Last but not least, AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. A new heel Daniel Bryan. God damn, I love Daniel Bryan. I love his performance. I love his verbiage. The man can talk. I love what he's doing in the ring. I think the side plates, taking off the side plates was a beautiful touch. Throwing them down in the middle of the ring. He stole it from Taz. Nobody's saying that. He stole that whole idea from Taz. But I think it was a beautiful touch. I think that needed to be done to show that the Yes Movement is dead, to garner and gain proper crowd heat. He did that. Flip side of this other coin is AJ Styles. AJ is currently within talks with the WWE on a contract extension. I don't know how this is going to work out. I haven't heard anything to where as though he's re-signed with the WWE. I would have to say that this match here has to benefit Daniel Bryan. This match here has to go to Daniel Bryan only because what else do you do with AJ Styles? I think if Daniel wins here, you can have Daniel versus The Miz, and maybe because you killed The Miz momentum when you put him with Shane McMahon. So I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with The Miz. It might be The Miz and Shane McMahon for the Best in the World trophy, which is fucking ridiculous. Even saying that sentence sounds fucking ridiculous. But I would definitely, like I said, I'm loving Daniel Bryan's work here. I don't see him losing the WWE Championship, and he just won it from AJ Styles last month. I'm going Daniel Bryan. I'm wanting to see what they're going to do with AJ after this. Like I said, they can always shoot AJ and Randy in some type of match, but I'm curious to see how it's all going to pan out. And that's your preview and predictions. My name is JP the Outlaw. I will be back later today with a state of wrestling. Then, of course, after the pay-per-view, my reaction and my review on the pay-per-view. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a shit show. So, hopefully this pay-per-view will come out better than, Monday Night Raw. Maybe it'll come off as a house show. I'm not sure. But I think it's going to do better. Of course, tune in. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. At JP the Outlaw. Don't forget the name. Of course, we'll be back with reaction for reviews on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and also a little bit of Universe Mode coming back to the channel. So if you guys have time, check all that shit out. Juan is out of here. JP the Outlaw is gone. Peace and have a great day.